You know, every once in a while, a single day comes along that it reveals a massive shift in an entire industry. Well, for artificial intelligence, September 26, 2024 was one of those days. It was the moment the AI industry really moved out of the lab and onto the factory floor. It was the start of a new industrial age.
So let's just start with a question that gets right to the heart of what's happening. Think about this. What if your next coworker wasn't a person at all? What if it was an autonomous AI that could manage its own tasks, send its own emails, and even make its own decisions? That future, well, it is a lot closer than you might think.
You see, this shift really marks a fundamental change in what AI is even for. For years, we've known AI as something that gives us information. But now, we are entering an era of AI that actually takes action on our behalf.
And the core concept driving all of this is called agentic AI. Now, don't think of these as chatbots. Think of them as autonomous systems, or agents that are designed to carry out complex, multi-step workflows. They are literally moving from being passive assistants to active participants in the economy. The difference here is it's night and day. The old paradigm was all about AI that informs. You ask a question, it spits out an answer. But this new paradigm, this is AI that acts. It automates entire workflows, it executes tasks, and it can even make decisions all on its own.
And look, this isn't some pie-in-the-sky theory. On that one single day in September, a whole wave of companies launched platforms to make this a reality. We're talking Algolia, Teradata, Cisco, Proofpoint. They all unveiled tools for building and deploying these AI agents. It was a massive, coordinated pivot from the entire industry.
But here's the thing. When you give AI the power to actually do stuff, you create a brand new problem. Suddenly, these agents become a new way for bad guys to attack. For decades, cybersecurity has really focused on just two things: securing our infrastructure, our networks, and securing our human users. Well, now there's a third pillar: securing the agents themselves. And making sure these new agents are secure is absolutely critical, because the scale of the bet being placed on them, it's astronomical. This new software revolution is being powered by one of the largest physical infrastructure buildouts in human history.
It all starts with this number, $100 billion. That's the planned investment from NVIDIA into OpenAI just to build its next-generation systems. This is not just a partnership. It is a statement of industrial ambition on a scale that we have really never seen before.
So what's the goal of all that cash? To build an AI infrastructure that can draw at least 10 gigawatts of power. OpenAI CEO, Sam Altman, he calls this the 10 gigawatt challenge. To put that in perspective, we're not talking about server racks anymore. We are talking about national-level energy consumption.
So how on earth do you justify that kind of scale? Well, you do it with world-changing, almost unbelievable ambition. Altman has explicitly said that this level of compute power could help us solve humanity's greatest challenges. He suggested that with 10 gigawatts, AI might just figure out how to cure cancer.
And this really shows you the incredible financial gamble that's being made. According to S&P Global, the capital expenditure, that's the money being spent to build all this stuff, is set to be more than the free cash flow for major players like Microsoft. They are literally betting the company on a future that isn't even here yet.
But here's the massive catch. Despite all this spending, a finding from the MIT Media Lab suggests that 95% of these investments have so far produced no measurable returns. They call it the AI experimentation trap. The pressure to adopt AI leads to this huge spending without a clear strategy, and you end up with a massive, maybe even unsustainable gap between the investment and the reality.
And this all brings us to a deep contradiction at the heart of this new industrial age, something we can call the paradox of progress. This race for digital intelligence is having some really profound and really physical consequences in the real world.
The costs are just piling up, and they're becoming impossible to ignore. Electrical grids are being strained to their limits. Residential electricity prices are soaring in places with data centers. These facilities are consuming billions of gallons of fresh water for cooling, they're generating mountains of e-waste, and yeah, they're beginning to devalue professional human skills.
Just take water, for instance. Projections suggest that AI's global water withdrawal could hit over 6 billion cubic meters in just the next couple of years. That is a massive, massive drain on a critical and very finite resource.
But if you really want to wrap your head around the scale, just consider this. That single 10-gigawatt OpenAI-NVIDIA project, it's projected to consume as much electricity as all of New York City. One project, one city.
Okay, so the industry is betting hundreds of billions of dollars and consuming the power of entire cities. But what if the scientific foundation for all of this is, well, shaky? And that brings us to our final and maybe most fundamental question. Right as this industrial build-out was kicking into high gear, a landmark paper from Apple's own research team dropped an absolute bombshell. It found that even the most advanced AI models suffer a complete accuracy collapse when they face a problem that is truly new and complex. They don't just get it wrong, they basically give up. And this has ignited a firestorm in the research community. On one side, you have the accusation that current AI is just a sophisticated mimic, a really good parrot with a huge vocabulary but with no true understanding. Researchers are calling it the illusion of thinking. But on the other side, defenders argue that Apple's experiments were just flawed. The experts themselves, they are deeply divided on this.
This whole debate points to a much bigger problem, an evaluation crisis. The simple fact is, we're building and deploying these systems way faster than we can develop the science to reliably measure what they can truly do and what they can't do. And you know what? This crisis might just explain that experimentation trap we talked about earlier. If we can't even be sure these systems can really think, is it any wonder that 95% of investments are failing to deliver results on complex problems?
So, as we stand here at the dawn of AI's industrial age, with a multi-trillion-dollar industry being built on a foundation of city-scale power consumption, we have to ask the ultimate question. Are we creating true, generalizable intelligence, or are we just building the most powerful and the most expensive illusion in human history?